All right, today we're going to be focusing on applying applications of systems of equations. Now you'll notice right here, you guys see where it says readiness standard? That means anytime you see a readiness standard, that means there's definitely going to be a question on the STAR EOC on this. Supporting means every other year happens, but if it says readiness, you have to know. You have to be ready for this information. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to read through this word problem, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the variables. And what I'd like you to do, I'd like us to make one of them x and one of them y. The reason we're going to be choosing x and y for our variables is whenever we're graphing things, we always graph things in terms of y and x. And you cannot use Desmos with a g or a d or an e or an f. It has to be what? In terms of x and y. So that's what we're going to be doing. So right now, as we read through the problems, I'm going to highlight some things that you guys may think are important. It says, Sweets for the Sweet sells candy in large bins. Each bin normally contains just one type of candy, but a customer, not going to mention any names, dumped the gumballs and mega jawbreakers into the same bin. The sales clerk checks the sales records and knows that the bin must contain how many pieces of candy? 800, so highlight that, 847. He weighs the bin and finds that it weighs 2,851.9 grams. Now, an individual gumball weighs, so the gumball weighs 2.5 grams, but an individual jawbreaker weighs 4.2 grams. How many of each type of candy are in the mixed up bin? So what we're going to do is we're going to identify what do we want to call x and what do we want to call y. All right, so we're going to be doing some what's called guided practice. So right now I'm guiding you. I'm going to let you know. I am going to refer to x as the gumball. And y, I'm going to refer to as the jawbreaker. All right, so x is gumball, y is jawbreaker. Now, something I need you guys to be aware of, okay, some information. How much does one gumball weigh? How much does it? Yeah, so here's what I want you to do. Jot it down. That's going to weigh 2.5 grams. And the jawbreaker weighs slightly more. That's what? 4.2 grams. So we're identifying how much they weigh. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this information and we're going to set it up. All right? We're going to set up two equations. Not one equation. We're going to set up two equations. Now, just remember, x represents the number of gumballs, y represents the what? The number of jawbreakers. Okay? Now, do we know the total number of gumballs and jawbreakers? Like how many total of them are there in the bin? We do. Sure. 847. So here's what I want you to write. I want you guys to write x plus y equals a total of 847. So the number of gumballs plus the number of jawbreakers is a total of 800. We just don't know how many of each of them are. Okay? But we do know that there's a total of 847. Now, I want you guys to understand what we just did here. Okay? I'm going to erase everything that I highlighted and focus on what we just did. We know there's 847. Okay? So that's that part right there. The next part we're going to talk about is the weighing. So right now, I'm going to put this one in green. I'm going to put how much does the gumball weigh? 2.5. So I want you guys to write 2.5 x plus 4.2 y equals a total of 2,851.9 grams. Now, what did I put in front of the x and the y? I put how much they weighed in front of x. And so each gumball weighs 2.5. Each jawbreaker weighs 4.2. And together, when you add their weight together, what do we get a total of? 2,851. Okay? So right now, this one said what? Write systems of two linear equations given a table, values of a graph, or a verbal description. So what did we take? We took a verbal description and we wrote the system to find the number of gumballs and jawbreakers. Justify the solution in terms of the problem situation. So here's what I want you to do. Just follow along. You guys should have that written on your paper. So check this out. You guys remember how easy the quiz was yesterday? Because everything was what? Set up for you. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set this up. All right. So what's our first equation? X plus y equaled what? 847. What was our next equation? Yeah. Oh, y equals 2,851.9. Now, do you guys notice how we don't see anything right here? So what would we have to do? We'd have to zoom out. So keep zooming, keep zooming, keep zooming, keep zooming. Why? Because what do they have to add up together to equal? 847. So what's my y-intercept? 847. What's my x-intercept? 847. So I got to zoom out. But eventually, guess what? You'll see it. You guys see the lines? Right there. What is our solution? There you go. Okay, so here's what I'd like you guys to write down. Write down on your paper, that is your x value. That is your y value. Okay, that's your x and that's your y. You didn't get that? 415, 432. Okay. Now, that's x, that's y. So right now, what is x equal? X equals the gumballs. Y equals the jawbreakers. Okay, so how many gumballs are in that really large bin? How many? 415. And how many jawbreakers are in the bin? 432. That's your answer as an ordered pair. Sometimes the question may say, they may not ask you for the ordered pair. They may say, hey, how many gumballs would there be? And the answer would be 415. And say, oh, how many jawbreakers would there be? 430. So sometimes multiple choice doesn't ask you for the ordered pair. It asks you for either the x or the y. So you have to know. So why do we have to do? We have to identify. That's why we have to identify the variables. Because once you solve for the variables, you want to be able to identify what they're looking for. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and head down to problem number 2. Okay. So here we go. It says Alexander and his brother work at 2 different department stores. Alexander is paid a base salary of $250 per week plus a 30% commission on all sales. Albert is paid a base salary of only $125 per week, but he gets a 40% commission on all sales. Now, you get commission. What does that mean? Commission means you make money by selling stuff. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. It says identify the independent and the dependent variables. So here's what I want you to write. I want you to write x equals, and I want you to write independent, because x will always be your independent value. Okay? But y equals the dependent value. And in our word problem, okay, the x value will equal the sales. Like how much money they sell, like how much money they sell, all right? Now, the dependent value represents the salary, or how much money they earn, okay? So sales is what they sell, the brothers, okay? And the salary is how much they earn in a week, okay? So I'm going to put weekly. You guys know it's dealing with weekly sales, and this is not monthly. This is a weekly salary. So weekly sales and weekly salary. Now, something you need to know in life is how to convert percentages to decimals. Okay. So we have what? We have a 30%, right? We have a 40%. Now I'm going to write the word. percent. Does anybody see a word hidden inside of the word percent? Per and cent. Percent makes, ready? Cents. I know you're thinking of S-E-N and S-E, but I say percent makes sense. Cha-ching. Watch this. 100% is the same as saying 100 pennies. But what's 100 pennies written as a dollar? That's equal to what? 1.00. So I'm going to go over here and show you guys a little pattern here. Ready? So let's say you have 90%. That's the same as saying 90 cents of a dollar, and that's written as 0.90. 70% is the same as saying 70 cents, which is 0.70. If I said 5%, that's the same as saying 5 cents, known as a nickel. How much is a nickel worth? 0.05. Okay? So if this doesn't make sense to you, here's what you do. Always take your percentage and just divide it by 100. And that will always give you your what? That will always give you your decimal. Okay? So if we wanted to, we could take what? 30% over 100 out of 100%, and that gives you 0.30. You could take 40% divided by 100%, and that gives you 0.40. Now some of you may go, you know what, I was always taught to do what? Move the decimal over 2. So if I had 30%, I got to move the decimal over twice. That's another way of thinking about it. Okay? Here's what I found. Students forget to move the decimal the right way. And suddenly, 30% doesn't become 0.30, it becomes something else. Okay? So right now, make sure you know how to do what? Change percentage to decimals. What's the formula that you could use? Take whatever percent is and divide it by 100, and that will give you your decimal, no matter what. Okay. Moving on over here. So what decimal is 30%? 31. That's right. 0.30. 40% is 0.40. Now, it says, write an equation to represent Alexander's weekly pay as a function of the amount of sales. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write a function in terms of y equals mx plus b. And we're going to write another function in terms of y equals mx plus b. Now, I'm going to highlight the b in green, because the b is the weekly salary. That's the constant. So over here, Alexander's paid what? $250. What's Albert paid? $125. So what's the b value for this one? $250. The b value is $125. What's the m value? What's the rate? The rate is the 30 and the 40. So here's what we're going to do. Write that. Y equals. Alexander gets what percentage? He gets 30%. So I'm going to put 0.30x plus a base salary of $250. Albert gets y equals, he gets 40% commission, which is a better commission, but he only gets paid $125 a week. So in order for Albert to beat his brother, he's got to sell more than his brother in order for him to win. Okay? So this is your answer for B. And this is your answer for C. Okay? Now, what does it say? It says, calculate the amount of sales each must make to have equal weekly salaries. What will the salary be? Now, we're going to do this by hand, and then we're going to show you how to type it into the graphing calculator and find where the two lines meet. So we're going to first do it by hand. All right, so what do we want? We want Alex, right? We want Alex to be equal to his brother, Albert. What is the equation for Alex? Y equals this, right? So good. We want this y value to equal this y value. Now, if the y values are equal, then their equations also are going to be equal. So watch how we do this by hand. I'm going to say 0.30 250 equal to 0.40x plus 125. I'm going to set their equations equal to each other, and then we're going to solve for x. Okay, so now we're going to solve for x. Where do I have the most for the values of x? On the left side or the right side? Where do I have more? On the right side. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take away 0.30x on both sides. So if you have 40 cents and you take away 30 cents, what does that leave you? 10 cents, right?
No.
You have 40 cents, you take away 30 cents, now you have 10 cents. Well, if I move all of my x values on the right, what do I have to do with my numbers? I got to move them over to the left. So what am I going to take away? 125. And I got to take away 125. So 250 minus 125 is 125. Because 125 plus 125 equals 250. Now all I have to do is do what? Divide both sides by 0.10. Dividing by a 10. So you're going to do 125 divided by 0.10 in the calculator, and you're going to get x equals 1,250. Now how did I know that off the top of my head? Because whenever you divide by a 10, that's like multiplying by 10. If you divide by a 10, you're multiplying by 10. And 10 times 125 is 1250. Now if you didn't know that, you can type it in the calculator and you'll still get the same answer. So, what does the weekly sales? They have to match the weekly sales. What do they sell? $1,250 and they make the same amount of money. Now the next part is this. It says what? What will that salary be? So what are we going to do with our answer? We're going to take it, we're going to plug it back in. So what I want you guys to do right now is I want you guys to take 0.30. We're going to plug in 1250 into the calculator, and we're going to add 250. And you'll notice if I take 0.40, multiply it by 1250, and then add 125, you should get the exact same answer. What do you guys get here and here? It's not going to be negative. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. 0.3, 625, 1250 plus 250 is 625. If I do 0.4, which is 40%, that's also. There we go. So how much did they make? That means there you go. So they both made $625. Okay. Now let me explain to you something. That's not supposed to be points. It's supposed to be one. Sorry. There, it's supposed to be just 12. They're like, Mr. Mood, there's no way I'm going to be able to remember all these steps. Well, you know what? I'm going to take this and this and just type it into Desmos. Okay. So here we go. Go into Desmos. I'm going to type in y equals 0.30x plus 250. Go over here. Y equals 0.40x plus 125. And you'll notice I got to zoom out just a little bit more. You guys see where they cross? 125 and 625, which means if they sell $1,250 worth of merchandise, that week they make $625. All right, if they do that for a month, like basically there's just over 4 weeks. Let's say 4 weeks. How much do they make in a month? All right. So if they want to make more, they have to sell more. Okay. So what if they sold more? Watch this. If I do 40%. But they sold $2,000 worth of stuff. Look how much Albert would make. He'd make what? $925. But if his brother, who makes less commission, right? He makes less commission. If he sold $2,000, notice he doesn't make as much, does he? All right? Because why? Because he makes more commission. Even though he's only paid a base salary of $125,
This is actually a better deal. If you sell more, he actually makes more money than his brother. Okay? So here's what I want you guys to do today. I want you guys to turn to the back. I want you to look at all the problems. And I need you right now. All I want you to do, you don't have to solve them. All I want you to do is write the equations down. Like write down the system of equations. And we'll go back and we'll check it.
All right, now it says, Mr. Guerra, the Angel High School band director, bought lunch for all members of the band who participated in the band contest on Saturday. The food was ordered from Eddie's Eats, and the choices were hamburger meals. Ooh, I'm going to have that. Hamburger meals for, that's a horrible highlight. Hamburger meals for $2.50, or hot dog meals for $1.75. Okay. Now, it says they ordered a total of how many meals? A total of 45, okay? Not including tax, with a total of $97.50. How many of each meal did he order? Now, we're not going to solve these today. We're just going to set them up. We'll solve them tomorrow. So here's what I want you to do. Write X equals hamburger. Okay? I'm going to put Y equals hot dog. The meals. Hamburger meals, hot dog meals. Now, we know hamburger meals cost more. They cost what? $2.50. And hot dogs cost a little bit less. They are $1.75. Okay? So there's a total of 45 meals. So the first equation that you should have written down on your paper is this. X plus Y equals a total of 45. And then you should put the money with it. So you should have written 2.5x plus 1.75y equals the grand total of $97.50. That right there is the system of equations that goes with problem 1. So just write down the system of equations. We will solve them tomorrow. Today, just set them up. Tomorrow we solve. All right, problem number 2. We're going to do this one next. Right here. It says Ford purchased a geometry textbook. That's one of the things. Geometry textbook. Oh. And a journal at Books and Nooks for a total price of $32. Not included. All right. So the very first thing I'm going to write, I'm going to put X equals the geometry book. Okay. And Y is going to equal the journal. Okay? Y equals the journal. Okay? Now, right now, I don't know the exact price of the geometry book, but I do know that whatever the price of the geometry book, all right, was, okay, and the journal, what's the price of the books together? They have a total of what? $32. Okay? So whatever that is, whatever X is equal to, plus whatever Y is equal to, that's equal to what? $32. Now, I'm going to put money. That means the price of the geometry book, just like the journal is dealing with money. So the independent value is the price of the geometry. The dependent value is the price of the journal. Okay, the money for the journal. Now, this is the part where it gets a little bit tricky. Here we go. It says, the price of the geometry textbook is. So the price of the geometry textbook. What letter represents the price of the geometry textbook? X. Here's what I'm going to write. I'm going to write X equals, all right, is 4 more than, that means 4 plus. And then it says 3 times the price of the journal. So what's the price of the journal? Y. So it's going to be 3 times that. What's 3 times Y equal to? 3Y. Right there. That is your system of equations for problem number 2. The price of the geometry book plus the price of the journal equals a total cost of $32. The geometry book is 4 more than 3 times the journal. That's how you translate. Number 2 was a little bit trickier than number 1. All right, moving on. All right, here we go. Next problem. It says Marilyn signed up to bring a cheese tray to the party Friday night. She plans on using just cheddar and Swiss cheese on the tray. Ooh, so here we go. What don't you do? We got to identify. Put X equals cheddar. Cheddar. Okay? Put Y equals Swiss. So X equals cheddar, Y equals Swiss. Now it says 3 kilograms of cheddar. By the way, we're dealing with kilograms, kg. Okay? Like the amount of cheddar in Swiss. So it says 3 kilograms of cheddar, you're going to put 3x. If it says 2 kilograms of Swiss, you're going to put 2y. And it equals a cost of what? $24.40. You're going to put $24.40. Okay? I'm going to change color just to make our next equation. This one says what? 4 kilograms of cheddar. What are we going to write for 4 kilograms of cheddar? That's right. Good job. All right. 5 kilograms of Swiss. There you go. And that gives us a total cost of what? 47.70. What have we just created? We created our system of equations that goes with that word problem. That is the answer to number 3. Not the final answer, but that's how you set it up. All right, last one we're setting up right here. Number 4, we're just setting it up. We have 2 different companies, okay? We have one called the Green Grass Incorporated. I'm going to highlight it in green. And the other one we have is S&G Lawn Care. I'm going to highlight in blue. Now, the Green Grass Incorporated charges an initial fee of $10 plus $12 per hour. Okay? Their main competitor, S&G Lawn Care, charges an initial fee of $25, but they only charge $8 per hour. Write an algebraic expression to represent each company. Now, here's what I want you guys to first identify. I want you to understand X equals the hours worked, like how many hours it takes them to complete a job, okay? Y equals the money or the total cost for hiring them, okay? So here we go. Anybody want to give me green grasses in terms of Y equals MX plus B? You got it. Y equals 10x plus 12. This is the Green Grass Company's equation right there. All right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put S and G. So S and, that's a horrible and. All right? S and G. In terms of Y equals MX plus B. What you got?
Oh, 8x plus 25.
Listen up, everybody. You guys see this part where it says initial fee? And right here where it says initial fee, here's what I need you guys to write down. Write in your journal somewhere. Make sure you always know the initial fee will always be your y-intercept. Every single time. The initial fee is not your rate, it's the y-intercept. So we set up all 4 of them. Tomorrow what are we going to do? We're going to solve